My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. This is the only channel dedicated to UFC fight picks and DraftKings lineups run by MMA insiders and professional fighters. Every week, I join Dan Kramer and Nick Newell, two longtime professional fighters that have fought at the highest levels on the planet, as well as Jacob Lyons, a skinny kid from Indiana. So join us every single week for our full fight card breakdowns, our individual fight card breakdowns, our betting guide, and our DraftKings lineups.
UFC 264 is behind us. UFC Vegas 31 is this week. I am filming this from a Manhattan hotel room, which, as you can see, is freaking tiny. Danny Boy is on vacation. Jacob is home.
I'm in witness protection right now.
Dan is in hiding with blank walls. So you can't identify anything about
him. I won so much money last week that I don't want the FBI finding me. I don't want anybody finding me.
I would love to see the rest of that room because it's barren and depressing. Either way, we're piecing this together. The gang is back together. You saw the full breakdown. It was only me because of everybody's travel schedule. But we're going to walk through the UFC Vegas 31 lineups very quickly. We just looked it up. The perfect lineup, or the highest scoring lineup you could have possibly had for UFC 264, had a loss in it because the underdog did not show up. I feel like this week is very different. There are a lot of live dogs. Let me walk through my lineup first. Right out of the gate, I don't love this Miesha Tate pick. So I have Miesha Tate in this lineup. I don't love it. It was because of the money, but I do think this is a perfect matchup for her. She's been out for 5 years, which is a stupid amount of time, but she's fighting a 40-year-old gym teacher with 4 losses in a row. Miesha Tate is a solid grappler, a solid striker. We have to assume and she's in good shape and she's ready to go. So she will score some takedown points, score pretty well. I don't mind her at $8,200, but I would prefer something else. But the rest of my lineup is so strong, and I'm positive she's going to win. So I just don't want to mess with it just yet. I don't know what you're laughing at. I have Gamrot over Stevens. Gamrot is such a dominant grappler and has really good hands as well. Jeremy Stevens is just basically knockout or bust in this fight. I don't see it happening. Dan, stop rubbing your face. That microphone is so loud. I don't see it happening. So I have Gamrot at $8,600. I'm surprised he wasn't in the 9,000s. Then I have main event. I have Islam over Thiago Moises. This is actually a really tough fight. The odds are insane. I am not buying into the whole Islam is a minus 800 favorite or what it's moved to now. That's crazy. With that being said, it is a 5-round fight. Islam is a dominant grappler. There will be a wrestler, not grappler, wrestler. There's going to be a bunch of takedowns. There's going to be fire on their feet. I love Islam to score a ton of points. Moises is a really tough outing, but we're going for points here. And points-wise, I think Islam's going to score really, really well. Takedowns are 5 points each. Then I have Rodolfo Vieira for the dominant win over Stoltzfus. This is not his last fight. On paper, it looks like Rodolfo's last fight, right? He fought another pretty good grappler. He got exhausted. He got submitted. This is not the same matchup. He is fighting another pretty good grappler, but this grappler doesn't have the same output, the same volume, and he's not going to put the same pace on Rodolfo to get him exhausted. I see Vieira making the cardio adjustments and just blasting through this dude and scoring a ton of points. My biggest hiccup or my biggest debate this week was, do I want Rodolfo Vieira or the Figueiredo brother? I kept going back and forth. I think they both have dominant stoppage type wins. I ended up going with Rodolfo Vieira. He's actually a little cheaper too. I ended up going with him because I'm more confident in the amount of points he'll score with takedowns and then get a finish. Then I'm going, this is my giant underdog. I think she's the cheapest, biggest underdog on the card. Montserrat Ruiz. It's showing up as Caneo because I think that's her nickname or maiden name or something like that. Same thing happened last time. But she is a dominant, nonstop wrestler. She is fighting a beast of a woman, a giant woman who I don't even know how she makes in that weight class. Stupid power, fantastic striking, and Montserrat gets hit a lot. So it's a very risky pick, but I just love the relentless one-dimensional grappling coming forward, only looking for takedowns, will not stop until she gets them. And she is like world level wrestling. She's not just like pretty good at wrestling like Miesha Tate was, right? So I like Montserrat in this fight. At the very least, she'll get a couple of takedowns. I really like her. I really do. And I'm nervous because Lemos is a beast. None of you agree with my pick. You all lit me up in the comments. So I could be way off, but I like Montserrat Ruiz or Caneo in this. And then finally I have Billy Quarantillo. He's the underdog here. I don't know why he's the underdog. I genuinely don't know why. He's good everywhere. I think his style matches up really well against Benitez. I think he gets the takedowns. He dominates the grappling and potentially could get a submission. Either way,
There goes Angelo's internet.
Oh, God.
He's frozen there.
And then I'm in a freaking hotel room, man. I told you I was worried about the internet. Jacob, let's go ahead and build your lineup.
Are you good now? Everything good? You didn't speak for like 20 seconds. I don't know if you want to redo that or.
No, we're good. Let's just let it ride. They saw the lineup.
It's just one of those hotels that has like free Wi-Fi, but like a couple letters are missing on the sign, and otherwise known as a motel.
I travel a lot for work, so I'm titanium elite with Marriott, and this is still the tiny little room I was able to get. So this is Manhattan for you. I can't even open my suitcase unless I open it on the bed, which is disgusting. But Jakey, walk us through your lineup.
Yeah, before we start with the lineups, I want to suggest a rule change or a complete overhaul of the UFC as we know it, and I think you guys are going to agree with me. It's a two-parter here. First of all, open scoring. I think we all agree open scoring would be awesome. When it comes to open scoring, here's the second part, and I think you guys are going to be with me on this. I honestly think you're going to be with me. The second part, I think that after the open scoring, after the first round, whoever is losing that first round should be able to decide if they want to start the next round on their feet or on the ground in full guard. I think that you just need to let
Ryan Hall sucks. Ryan Hall got smoked. Everybody except you knew that. That's your fault.
I think that it would be awesome. Imagine if you're losing, but you're a grappler. You can start on your back in full guard. You're still not in a great position, but I think that every
he could just compete in grappling tournaments and stop trying to fight.
Listen, that
Why don't
fight
you go ahead and walk us through your lineup?
Oh my
that
God,
fight didn't even get to the second
He's
round.
Still thinking about this. Still talking about it.
I mean, he was so close on so many submission attempts right there. That was
maybe he should learn how to wrestle. That would be helpful.
Why? He almost submitted him like 6 or 7 different times.
All right, this is a DraftKings breakdown, and we're talking about a dude that rolled around in the mat like a tumble class for 6
Speaking of grapplers and relentless wrestlers, I'll transition very nicely here. My first pick is going to be Islam, and this hurts my heart so bad because Thiago Moises is a former lock of the week, one of the most dominant lock of the weeks we've ever had, Thiago Moises. And I think that Islam is in for some trouble here. I think he's going to find himself in some precarious positions against Thiago. Thiago is much better on the feet, and he can grapple as well. Here's my issue is going to be if you're Thiago, because he's very good with submissions, and Islam is not afraid to put his neck in bad positions because he trusts his jiu-jitsu as well. Islam can't go for submissions. He needs to use submissions to get back to his feet to keep the fight striking as much as he can. But I think he's going to try and work submissions too much and just get absolutely pounded on by Islam. Islam is my dude. He's one of the funniest guys in the world. So I love Islam in this matchup, but it's gonna be a tough one. And Thiago Moises is no one to mess around with. So then I went with Miesha Tate. We're gonna have like basically the same lineup, Angelo. I went with Miesha Tate. I've been on her Instagram. She looks absolutely shredded, which almost kind of concerns me because she's had weight cut issues before, and this is gonna be her first weight cut her first weight cut in like 5 or 6 years. And if she's already shredded, I don't know if maybe she's keeping her body weight a little bit lower, so the weight cut's not an issue. But if she's already shredded the way she has been the last couple of weeks, and then she tries to cut weight, we'll see how it goes. They want her to win this fight. That's why they picked her up against put her up against Marion. 44 years old with 4 losses in a row. Miesha should absolutely win this fight. I think she should be priced more like $8,700, $8,800. We'll see what happens, but she absolutely should win this fight. Next, I'm going with Gamrot. When I was thinking about this fight, I was thinking, Jeremy Stephens, I'm pretty sure he's got pretty good takedown defense, But then this is his first fight at lightweight, and this was a bad matchup for him to come into your first fight at lightweight. Obviously, he's a bigger featherweight, but Gamrot's not a small lightweight. And Jeremy Stephens has 65% takedown defense against Gamrot. He's going to be a naturally bigger guy. I think Jeremy Stephens is just going to get absolutely mauled in this matchup. So I love Gamrot in this matchup. Next is the lock of the week, and let me say, if we're going down this rabbit hole, we're going with the Mad Rabbit, and that is Ruiz Conejo, lock of the week. Listen, last time I picked her, I can't remember who.
I'm not happy about that
against Cheyenne Buys, but Cheyenne Buys was a cute. What was Ruiz? Because it was short notice. I think she was like +4, +5, maybe +600.
Yeah, she was a big underdog, and she blew through Bays.
I think we all had her there, right? Didn't we all pick that one?
We all loved her grappling, but specifically that headlock takedown that she has. I've seen her do some other things in some other matchups, or some other fights, but in that one, it was just a headlock takedown. I remember Angelo was getting upset because you say you teach people not to do that in wrestling, but it was a headlock takedown. She just holds that position and just beat the crap out of her. So I don't know if she's going to be able to do the same thing against Lemos. Hopefully she's got some other tricks to go to. I'm sure she does. That's why she's my lock of the week. But yeah, Angelo nailed it. She's relentless on the ground, and she's nasty too. And her Instagram is also incredible. She actually looks even better shape going into this fight. I mean, I say the Instagram stuff a lot, but you can learn a lot about what kind of shape people are in with their Instagrams, and she looks even better than she did before, and I thought she looked great before. So I like Ruiz in this matchup. That's your lock of the week. We're going to bounce back from Ryan Hall. Then I'm going with Khalid Taha, and this is basically just kind of like a knockout coin flip matchup. These are smaller guys, but they both have TKO, KO power. The difference is Taha, like I mentioned, he only has 2 decision wins. The rest are TKOs. I think he might have 1 submission, but he's never been TKO'd. Sergey has, so that kind of was the go-to for Taha there. Was just, I think they're both going to be swinging. I think Taha's got the power, the speed, and the chin to be able to hold up in that matchup. And then to round it out, I like Miles Johns. He is a Kansas 5A state wrestling champion, was going to go to college for wrestling, and then I think he got hurt and then transitioned MMA, and it's worked out great for him. He is nasty. He's out of that Fortis MMA right down the road in Dallas, which is fastly kind of becoming one of the go-to gyms in the nation. You hear about Fortis MMA a lot, people coming out of that camp. So I like him in this matchup. The only thing that worries me is the submission threats of Dos Santos, because I think that Johns is going to wrestle. He also has great power, but I think he's going to wrestle in this matchup. He's never been submitted before, but that's the only thing that would kind of worry me. But I think he's got the wrestling to control the matchup. I like his ability to get takedowns. And if you look at my lineup there, I got the lock of the week, and the rest are all favorites. So I love my lineup.
Yeah, I like it too. I picked, if you watch the breakdown video that I did solo because of our travel schedules, I had Morozov and DeSantis, but Miles Johns is a good pick. That's a really super close fight. It's basically, I picked DeSantis because of his veteran savvy, but that fight is really set up to see how good Miles Johns actually is. So that's not a bad pick. It'll be that's an interesting lineup. We'll see how that one goes. Danny boy, you're up from your weird suicide room with all soft edges. Why don't you walk us through?
There's no way anybody can like GPS track this, right? No one knows where I am.
No, nobody knows where you are, and nobody wants to be where you are.
The IRS will find you.
I'm in North Carolina on vacation right now in the wilderness on a lake. Actually, it's pretty nice, but
yeah, that's the vibe I'm getting from that room. Sure.
Well, you don't want to see the rest of the room. Trust me.
If you're in trouble, blink twice.
All right, let's get started here. This is a crazy card. So Angelo and I were talking earlier. We were looking at a lot of bets. A lot of the props haven't dropped yet. So we're like, let's push this to later in the week to get all the bets, because there's a bunch of things that I think will be good action. There's a lot of live dogs, and it's tough from a DraftKings standpoint too. So this is definitely my preliminary lineup. I feel really good about it. I'm going to dig a little bit more throughout the week, but this has panned out pretty good so far. So let's start off with, I got Rodriguez over Parsons for $8,800. I think Rodriguez is going to be the much better striker. Parsons has some decent wrestling, but I think Rodriguez has the skills to defend takedowns, land big shots, and put up a ton of volume. I mean, we saw what he did against Mike Perry, and he's just looked very, very good in a lot of fights against tough fighters. So I think this should be an action-packed fight. And basically after, call it the first round of defending takedowns for Parsons, who I believe is taking this on short notice as well, I think he's going to rack up a ton of points. Could get a guillotine, you never know, but I think the striking is going to be what gets it done here. Live for a knockout, but at a minimum, a ton of points over the course of 3 rounds. Then I got, going direct against you, Jake, I got Morozov over Taha. So Morozov trains at ATT, and he's good everywhere. This is a close fight. Listen, I was, when I saw Taha's name, I was like, man, I remember watching film on him against Raoni Barcelos and being super impressed with how he handled that fight. Raoni Barcelos is arguably, I mean, until he lost his last fight in a close one, I mean, he was going to be top 5 in the division. And, I think he still should be. That fight was so close. This, whatever it was, a couple weekends ago. So anyways, Taha's tough. He's a good striker. The shots he took in that fight, I mean, would have put most people away. And Morozov, though, I would say is slick enough and good enough everywhere to engage in a striking battle. I think this is going to be a 3-round battle. And I think Morozov, especially at, he's plus odds. He's a decent value on DraftKings at $7,900. I think he's going to win this fight. I think it's going to be a 3-round decision where both guys are landing a ton of punches. So I'll take him for the 7,900.
Wait, sorry, I picked the wrong guy.
Yeah, it was one.
Okay, keep going. Sorry, I just took the wrong name. You're good.
So Morozov. Then I got Benitez over Quarantillo. This is one. Yeah, I mean, listen, he's a very good striker. Quarantillo, I think, is live in this fight as well. But I think just Benitez has the overall better striking. I will say that Quarantillo is live with his style, but he's very hittable. I would say Benitez is more fluent, more crisp, good leg kicks. So I like him to kind of pick apart Quarantillo over the course of 3. Could get a stoppage, but again, this is going to be my tournament lineup. Let's say that. I'm not chasing stoppages here. There's a ton of fights where I think there's a 50-50 coin flip or a 60-40 fight for a stoppage. I'm not playing with those for this. This is going to be my 50-50, my double up lineup. And there's a ton of crazy options for tournament lineups because I think there's a lot of fights that are heavy favorites, but the dogs are very live for a finish. So
are you getting conservative on us, Dan?
Well, this is just for 50-50s and just to take Angelo's money like I did last week. So, that's how I'm going to.
The first time in 3 months you made $1. Congratulations.
Listen,
how many players did you have in your lineup, Dan?
Oh, that's right. That's weird. I seem to win somehow still, and I missed the drop last night.
Literally, I
won with 5 out of 6.
I think the only 2 times you've beaten me in the last many months were both with 5-person lineups.
Just shows you there's levels to this stuff, guys. Listen, and the stats are out there. Okay. Well, they're in the comments somewhere if you want to find them. Our long-standing history of, I think I have double the wins. I think that's what it was, Jake, right? Something like that.
Just behind me, yep.
Well, Jacob's on the 3rd page of the list, but it's all right,
I mean, I go 6-0 every week, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Right. Jacob's got his own list. It's just his name and then nobody else. He's always in first place. So for now, I got Benitez over Quarantillo. I'm going to take a closer look at that one because I agree with you. Billy Q is a tough fighter in these games, so it's going to be a scrappy fight. Then I got Gamrot over Stevens. Angelo, I think you nailed this one, or Jacob.
It's probably me.
Yeah, we'll go with you, Jacob, after Angelo's latest performance. I think his wrestling is going to – first of all, he's a very good striker. Stevens is always live for a knockout. He's got a ton of power. But I think Gamrot's wrestling is going to be what definitely provides him an easy path to victory in this. As long as he doesn't get caught with anything big, I think he's going to dominate this fight. I think he's going to be top 5 talent in the division. He's also at ATT. I hear he's a beast. So for $8,600, I think that's a really good value. And Stevens, he's still tough, but he's also on the later end of his career. So we'll see how he continues to look. What's
four
that?
losses in a row too. He's also at 4 losses in a row. So he's definitely
trying
on the
to-
downside.
He's trying to recreate himself. New weight class.
It actually will help him. Going up in weight will help him because he was big for the other weight class, but for 145.
Yeah, it'll help him,
It's a
but
mismatch.
it's probably not going to help him
Not enough.
From the power standpoint, which was one of his biggest attributes. I mean, that's not that that's going to go away, but it's going to be less impactful. I just think Gamrot is too good everywhere, and will have a good wrestling game plan. Can mix it up on the feet if he wants to. So for $8,600, I think he's going to dominate. Then I got Angelo. You were almost right. Not the cheapest player on the card. I have the cheapest fighter on the card. Thiago Moises, $6,800.
Oh
So,
boy, you're
listen,
really going ATT or bust, huh?
I mean, listen. There's just
Hey! That's a former lock of the week.
right. Well, that was
Listen,
all
I
about
love
me.
Thiago. Watch him a breakdown. He's super live in this fight. I just think wrestling's too much though. Okay.
Dude, for $6,800 in a 5-round fight where Makhachev, he's got a lot of decision wins.
Yeah, he doesn't put people away.
He's not, I don't want to say he's not a finisher. He's got some finishes, but against a guy like Moises, I don't think he's going to put him away. I think Moises is very live. I think he's got jiu-jitsu to win. I think his striking is
He's the better striker.
That might be, honestly, this might be the most talented $6,800 fighter we've ever had in DraftKings. I mean, that's
a very
incredible
good point.
value. Yeah.
That's what I'm
that's a good
saying. And trust me, I know that guy is working hard. He's a nice dude. He's a good, hard-working guy, and he's smart. I think he's going to come in with a good game plan. And listen, he knows what he's got to do fighting against Makhachev. It's like, he is like a mini Khabib, basically. Now, that's easier said than done. Makhachev's wrestling. I mean, you can see some of the tape broken down on him. He'll go from one to the next, and he won't get. If he doesn't get 3 takedowns, he'll get on the 4th. So it's a tough style to deal with. But I think Moises, with the ground, the jiu-jitsu, is a threat anywhere. He's live with his hands. He's got guillotines. He's got ankle lock. He's got all sorts of subs that could pull something off. And at a bare minimum, over 5 rounds, and let's say it goes to the decision, he's going to justify $6,800 in my opinion. So it opened up a lot of dollars elsewhere. And
that's a really good point. And honestly, I think anybody can make a very valid argument for either one of those guys. I think they're both going to score well. I think it's a war.
And just a quick note on Islam.
But I like the 5 points for takedowns from Islam.
Remember Islam, the head coach, who also was the head coach of Khabib, said the only person to ever take rounds off of Khabib in sparring was Islam.
Right.
It actually was an awesome fight. I really like Thiago Moises, and I'm waiting for the props to drop because I'll hit Thiago Moises. Submission or bust prop on Thiago Moises is amazing.
Yeah, I mean,
he's decision, no action. That's an awesome bet for him.
By the way, there's also a plus 5.5 that I
saw that too. I'm going to hit a plus 5.5 when that drops.
That's plus 350 right now. So we'll drop that later in the week. But anybody looking to make, I think there's very good value on that because, I mean, listen, if it turns into a close fight, you get 5.5 on the scorecards at plus 350. That's pretty good. So the last one,
$9,400. You still have enough for lock of the week. You can afford the lock of the week.
94. Like, wait, what is he saying here? The lock. Anyways, no. So I have $9,400 left. I can afford anybody right now. And when I was looking at it, okay, so there's 2 ways you can go about this, right? If you're doing a tournament 50-50, you could double up the main. I don't know if that's the right move. I kind of don't think it is. I'm not going to do that. But if you think that this is going to be a 5-round back and forth fight, might be an option. But I went with Lemos at 9,300. And I bounced this around before. I know, Jacob, I'm going right up against your lock of the week. Listen, I like Montserrat Ruiz. I won off of her the last time. I just think she's very hittable. I think she has very good wrestling. I'll give her that. But I think Lemos is slick enough everywhere to, like, let's put it this way. Ruiz is not going to get that. Well, I shouldn't say I'm jinxing myself. If she goes for that
headlock is trash. Yeah, she's got to move
the headlock. I mean, Lemos will take her back instantly.
Yeah, I agree.
So
No, she's got to go to a different takedown, but she's literally a world champion or something like that. She's a very good wrestler, and she didn't get there with just a headlock.
Right.
That was just what was available in that fight.
Agreed. So I feel like Lemos is a little pricey. So I'm just, I'm looking down the card. I like Nascimento a lot. I think he's going to win that. I think he'll win that by sub. But
you don't like your boy Vieira?
I just can't do it. I mean, we talked about it earlier in the week. I'm like, I feel like this is the fight where he's going to make improvements and get the sub, but
that was such a wild fight, man. That was such a wild
until I see it, I don't even know how.
He's just like, just gasping for air.
I mean, I've never seen somebody gas that hard. And I'm like, how do you improve? Like, what is he doing in between fights to improve that?
You got to lose 30 pounds of muscles. The only way to fix it.
I mean, how do you change your body type that much? And I mean, I don't know. McGregor fast, maybe? I don't know. So, yeah, I was just looking at the slate of who's left and who I could afford. And I think Lemos is the most live, for a good amount of points in a fight. If she can defend Conejo's takedowns and make it a striking match, she's definitely the better striker, and I think she's got ground submissions that she could pull off as well. So right now, I got her at $9,300. Leaves me about $100 left over. I'm sure I'm going to rearrange this all week long. There's so many interesting fights, but I'll definitely be submitting this in a few contests for sure. So this is where I'm at right now. Feeling pretty good about it. And let's see, Angelo, me versus you. We're heads up on a few, right?
No.
Moises
only the main event.
Okay.
Yeah, only the main event. It's not a few. So, yeah, one. Actually, two. No, you're right. My bad. Because I have Corntillo, you have Benitez.
And Conejo.
Oh, holy crap. We're heads up on 3 of 6. What am I talking about? I'm way off.
That would be a few.
It's more than a few, dummy. Everybody knows a few is 2. Either way, those are our breakdowns.
A couple is 2. Jeez.
I know, just messing around.
Oh, I thought you were serious. I was like, this is
it's a joke.
This is getting embarrassing.
It's a joke, Angelo. Here you go.
It's a joke, right? It's a joke.
Yeah. Either way, those are our breakdowns for DraftKings this week. This is one of the trickiest weeks in a while because of the live underdogs. Last week I felt was pretty straightforward. I went
Look
too
at
hard.
Conejo, 103 points, top score. Wow.
That's from one fight where she had 10 million takedowns.
Right.
Last week you had somebody who had half a point. Was their average DraftKings score?
So, if it was, it is now. Listen, Ryan Hall landed 2 wheel kicks, and I said in our live thing that Ryan Hall was going to win by head kick, and he landed 2 wheel kicks.
You got him going again.
On
the button. Ryan Hall is
embarrassing. You should be embarrassed.
Right.
He's almost going down as a win.
Join our free DraftKings league. It costs you nothing to play. Join the league. The winner of the league gets money from us just for participating because we're trying to grow the channel. So take advantage of that while it lasts. WeWantPicks.com. You get all your options, all your plays. Jump into the league. Enter your lineup. Costs you nothing. You can make money from us. And if you're a member, you make twice as much money.